What is the one piece of advice that if you got from a heart-leading health and wellness lawyer could change the way you look at protecting and growing your business? Find out in this week's episode. Hey there, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Conscious Counsel podcast with your host and lawyer, Cory Sterling. That's me. And here at the Conscious Counsel podcast, remember, the promise that I'm making to you is that I'm going to teach you and help share information with you to protect and grow your wellness business with both confidence and clarity. This week, I want to talk about the most important piece of advice that I ever received as a lawyer and that I share with all of my clients, and how it has helped me keep my clients out of the courtroom and with businesses that are thriving and completely protected. In order to understand the context behind this advice, I'm going to take you back to the year 2017. This is steamy. And I was just called as a lawyer, and I went for a meeting with one of my mentors, Mike Stevens, who I talk about a lot and is someone who made a really big impact on me. And essentially what Mike Stevens told me was, hey, Cory, there's one piece of information that you're going to want to share with all of your clients. And I thought it was going to be something groundbreaking, earth-shattering, super cool. Wow, this is awesome. I love being a lawyer and I love wearing a suit. And he just simply said to me, you're going to tell your clients that they can pay you now or they can pay you later. And that particular piece of advice didn't necessarily meet my expectations. But as time goes on, I see more and more and more how true this adage and this piece of information is. And also as time goes on, including this week, so I'm recording this, it's August 13th, 2025. I'm going to tell you two stories that happened this week, and they are both examples of the pay me now, pay me later principle. And the idea is, what my mentor explained to me all those years ago was, if your clients are running a small business, and especially if they're in health and wellness, they're going to need to work with a lawyer. So it's going to happen. At some point, their business is going to intersect with some challenge, some disagreement, some complaint, whatever it's going to be, and they're going to need your help. And what you have to explain to your clients is they can pay you now, which means they can work with you when everything's going great. Like the weather's awesome, the lake is calm, there's no storm, you've got a clear head, you're focused, you're able to deal with an issue, and they're going to organize their business properly by registering their intellectual property, getting customized legal agreements, working with a lawyer who understands their industry and their business specifically, and they're going to set everything up so that they are proactively working with the law and that they're in control of the situation. And this is what you want for all of your clients. Conversely, some of your clients are going to have to pay you later. And what pay you later means is, okay, cool, maybe I interacted with them and they didn't move forward in working together. Or maybe they just had no idea that they needed a lawyer to help protect their health and wellness business. And they decided to just go out into the world and run their business without being legally protected. And then a problem comes up, they're going to have to pay you later. But the problem is, when someone has to pay you later, it's going to cost them more money. They're already going to be in the middle of a very challenging and highly stressful situation, and they're not going to be in control of the situation. Instead, they're going to be practicing what we call reactive law. And the last thing that I want for any of my clients is for them to be in a situation where they are reacting to a situation instead of controlling the situation. The way that you control the situation, and I've spoken about this in previous episodes, you could check out the first episode on legal position. If you have an inferior or weaker legal position, then you're in trouble and you are at the whims of someone. And usually when you're at the point of being in a legal fight, you don't like this person, you think they're irrational, they're probably highly demanding, and because you don't have a stronger legal position than them, you have to cater to their needs or their wants or whatever issues they have. Like, they're in control of the situation. Just think of it being a passenger in a car or being a driver in the car. When you're the driver, you're holding the steering wheel, and when you're a passenger, the driver's doing whatever it is that they want. The reason why I started Conscious Counsel and the reason why I love what I do is because I get to help amazing people who are making the world a better place. either by virtue of their yoga studio, their health coaching business, the retreats that they're running, their Pilates studio, whatever it is, their business coaching. Everyone who I work with and who I support is making the world a better place. And by virtue of me being able to help these people stay protected and be at best legal practices, when the inevitability of a legal issue comes up, cool. I know that I can take care of the situation. I've done it consistently. We just recently got our 445th five-star Google review. So cool, help me help you. Let me get involved. But if you don't let me get involved and there's a problem, it's going to be more difficult and more stressful for you. So this past week, and these two stories, they both suck. They both suck. And I'm very upset about them, but they're very real stories. And the reason why I record this podcast is so that everyone understands that these stories are real. The first story has to do with a client who I had a meeting with in October of 2024. And they told me a little bit about their business. And I told this person verbatim, I said, the way that you are operating right now is dangerous. You're breaking the rules. You do not have the proper agreements in place. And if you get sued or if something happens, you have no legal leg to stand on. And we had a call. And look, sometimes when it comes to working with clients, I will be more consistent in following up to work with them because I care and because it's so obvious to me. I understand that my client doesn't appreciate the situation. And they're like, oh, I've done this. I've been open for a year and a half. I haven't had any problems. And I'm meeting with them. I'm like, yo, you need to fix this ASAP. And if you don't, it could result in really serious problems for you. And so I follow up, I text hey, can I support you? How can I help you? Are you ready to move forward? All these things happen. Get a message from the person. Hey, I'm sorry. Right now, we can't really find any money in the budget for it. So, I can't move forward. And then they just ghost me. Cool. Look, totally happens. I understand. That's part of it. Now things get interesting when I get a frantic email and then a voice note and then a phone call and then screenshots of court documents of this person getting sued, and they send me a message and they're like, hey, we just got served with papers. We're getting sued for this situation. Can you help us? And of course, I'm here to help. That's what I do. This client's going to be in a very, very challenging position because their legal position is inferior. They were not following the rules correctly. Their contracts and their agreements did not reflect what should have been. And as a result, they're screwed. But the story for me is just I told you. And I don't get on the call. I'm like, hey, remember when we had this call and I told you were going to get sued and now you're getting sued? I don't say that. I can say that on the podcast because I can say that on the podcast. But no, it's very, very serious. And the chances of this business going bankrupt are very, very high because they're getting sued for six figures. They're totally in the wrong. And what really sucks is that if this person would have made an investment of $5,000 last year in October, this situation would not be happening. And that's pay me now, pay me later if there's ever been one. In the same week, I had a call recently with one of my clients about filing a trademark. And I swear this stuff really happens and it's real. And that's why I shared on the podcast. 2 months ago, had a call with the client. Hey, you going through the legal documents. Awesome. Got it. Okay. Do you have a trademark registered? The price tag's a bit high. Can't really do it. I don't know if we can do it. I was like, okay, cool. We can break it in installments for you. Help me help you. And this person has a thriving business with multiple locations for their studio. So it's not like they're operating out of their garage and they have no revenue. They have a business. They're professionalizing their business with the legal documents. Awesome. Time to get the intellectual property to match that. Hey, I just don't think a trademark is a priority right now, so we're not going to go for it. Okay, cool. Look, not my problem. My job as a lawyer, and especially when I'm getting to know a potential client, my job is to bring the horse to the well, and I can't force the horse to drink water. I can just say, hey, based on my experiences, this is what you need. And I got an email yesterday from the client saying, hey, we just got a cease and desist letter from a law firm. Someone else has registered our exact studio name with the USPTO. 2 studios. So now, firstly, when you want to challenge someone else who has an existing trademark, it's going to be an expensive process. And the first thing that you have to do is register your own trademark. I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, I can help you. We're going to have to pay what you could have paid a couple of months ago. You're going to have to pay that now, plus the whole process to challenge the trademark. And it will be at least 5 times more expensive than if they did it properly the first time. And again, it's not my job to tell people to make decisions for people about their business. All I can do is share the experiences that I go through in my business on a daily basis. So, this one piece of information that's super helpful is pay me now instead of paying me later, practicing proactive law, being in control of the situation. And look, there's probably a sneaking suspicion somewhere where if you're not using documents that were drafted by an industry specific lawyer who understands your business, who understands the daily issues and things that need to be taken care of, and you push it off, sometimes you get burned, and it sucks when it happens, because these two clients are both amazing, amazing people who have made tremendous sacrifices in their lives to build their business. They put a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort. In one case, there's a very real possibility of bankruptcy and having to close the studio because of the amount they're getting sued for and the weakness of their legal position. And in the other situation, it's someone who could have protected their brand and didn't. And now, as a result, we are behind the 8 ball and have to register anyways, plus it's going to be a lot of months of legal fees in order to rectify the situation. So, just as a recap, this one piece of advice that I received that's so important is pay me now instead of pay me later. And just the mindset and understanding that if you have a health and wellness business, eventually you're going to need to work with a lawyer, and you want to do it earlier rather than later. You want to make an investment in your business at the front so that you're in control of the situation and so that you're practicing proactive law, and that you're not in a situation where you're reacting and out of control of the situation. So I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If there's any support you need, just find us on Instagram at Conscious Counsel, and we'll send us a message. We're really excited to support you. And thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. And I'm excited to share the next episode with you. Have a wonderful day.